Greetings, unsettled souls. Welcome to the Correct Views. Sam Di Gangi during political commentary for the Media Speaks. Gonna do something like the 12 Days of Trump. I mentioned it on the Halloween show. The redneck character this year on the Halloween show was really quite funny. So make sure whatever you do that you do check that out. It's the last posting before this one, the 26th of October. 12 Days of Trump, giving you 12 facts, 12 reasons to vote about Trump, leading all the way up to Election Day. Plain and simple, friends. It's going to be a short show for the next 12 days, couple topics per day. This one here is from the New York Post. And one of the day, I guess the reason number one would be think about the people that are out there cheating Trump and how they're cheating Trump. How are the polls cheating him? I'll tell you, they'll pick 500 Democrats, 300 Republicans, 200 independents that lean left, and then go ahead and say that a majority of them were voting for Trump. Well, how do you think the poll's going to go if you stack it that way? And don't tell me that third party isn't left, because this season, unless you're voting for Richard Duncan, it clearly is. That idiot McMullen or whatever it is from Utah is specifically out to hurt Trump and help Clinton. He is, you've got Gary Johnson, who's as far left as Bernie on some issues. Jill Stein is Bernie. And by leaving Republicans off, then you can skewer the polls. Why is that cheating? Because it makes people like you and I think, oh, there's no sense in us even bothering to vote. He's not doing very well, so our vote's not going to count. Absolute mind rot. And I'll tell you why. First of all, we know that the IDB poll, the International Business Daily, is the most reliable polling source. And I'm not saying that because they have the numbers close. I'm saying that because historically, like there are some things I give you that are simply not opinion. This is one of them. Historically, for instance, football fans know that if you go back, the most losing team in NFL history is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's just statistically fact. Likewise, the most reliable polling data, most reliable polling company, according to number of proved successes, is the IDB poll. They have it as of today 42-41 Clinton. A day or so ago, it was a tie. Well, let's take a look here as we go to screen share what the New York Post has to say. This is the date of the 24th. Election Whiz predicts Donald Trump will win the Oval Office. Donald Trump may be behind in most polls, but one veteran New York prognosticator still predicts he will win come Election Day. I think he is the strongest candidate in the primaries, and he will prevail. Helmut Norpoth, a political science professor at SUNY Stonebrook, told the Post on Monday. Even as the Real Clear Politics average shows the Republican candidate trailing Democrat Hillary Clinton by 6.1 percentage points. That, again, if you ask enough Democrats without including enough Republicans, then that's going to be the case. Norpoth developed a model that applied retroactively in earlier races. There's a link here for this. Would have correctly predicted the winner of every presidential election since 1912, with the exception of 2000 when it predicted Al Gore, who barely lost to George W. Bush. That is another area where some serious questions arise as to whether or not voter fraud was there. And don't make it sound like it's a Donald Trump issue, because that's not the case at all. We know from example that Bush helped Bush get in, and the whole hanging Chad debacle. Go back and look at it if you didn't live through it. You can automatically tell there. There was some serious problems with the way that was done. Anyway, it says the model looks at which of the candidates performed better in the primaries and the caucuses and concludes that the stronger performer there will enter the White House. While the political ground has shifted dramatically since Norpoth first made his call, things like Pussygate. He's not budging on the outcome. The model predicted a Trump win in February, and nothing has changed since then. Well, look at this. Whatever happens in the real world, Pussygate, doesn't affect the model, he said. This is interesting because you got to remember that Mondale, not Mondale, Jimmy Carter was expected to have a huge win over Ronald Reagan. Reagan had tried to run before, and Richard Nixon witched him. Hard to say, and people thought it was going to happen again. They were saying that Ronald Reagan was going to be the next Goldwater. For those of you that don't know, he was an extremely popular Republican prior to when I was born, who did amazing and then tanked. They were trying to say that that was going to be Reagan. Reagan didn't just win that. Reagan won that by one of the largest landslides, at least in modern history, if not ever. So, I mean, don't let them tell you that this is over, that it's done. Look who his enemies are and look at the polling data. Having said that, make sure you go out to vote, because there's no doubt about it. Trump's at least a point back. So that's where it is. Friends, behind me as I log off on day number 1 here is the Christelle pumpkin that was supposed to be done yesterday, and she wasn't able to get it done. It's a flattened witch, like a witch melting, as in Hillary Clinton in her meltdown here. Hillary for Prison t-shirt that I have. Christelle, do me a favor, kill the lights as we sign out for the evening. 12 days of Trump, going at it 12 days. Please donate at the correct views at hotmail.com. Do it through PayPal. Every penny you give to me goes towards a better show. Yeah, that's a pretty cool pumpkin, I must say. Leave a comment. Let me know how you like it. Hit share.